We're live. Okay. Yeah.
Best countdown ever.
Awesome. Hunger Games.
No countdown.
Unlike unlike last week, we got 20 minutes of delay. Now we're only 3 minutes of delaying time here. Welcome to.
We're early.
No, we
We're
are.
a minute early, actually.
We are East Coast early here.
So Vince Nardone of the Division A and B podcast can get off his high horse because my all is inappropriate.
Welcome to Calling the Audible, as we like to call it, Ebony and Ivory.
Indeed.
PZ is Ebony.
I'm Ebony.
And Mocon is Ivory.
Mm-hmm.
As we bring you the Divi podcast, which we will recap and preview the week that was and will be, and talk about flag football.
Mo?
Fastest 5 minutes.
Before I even get into anything else.
Yes.
Fastest 5 minutes, that's clearly a rip-off of Chris Berman. You're basically a less sexy version of Chris Berman.
I am.
You're FPF's Chris Berman on a budget.
Mind you, the budget that we have, though, is brought to you by FPF, but of course we are live from the Sportier cage.
Because being brokenhearted can leave one feeling alone, naked, and ashamed. Mo, tell the good people how they can avoid being ashamed of their team's look.
Well, for those who are ashamed of their team's look, having paper numbers on their T-shirts.
Very specific to the V.
Div E potentially, or even a Div A team, or B or C or D team, whichever league you play in. Sportira, looking to our left, PZ's right, the proud sponsor of the Flag Plus Football League and, of course, this podcast. We're live from the Sportira cage. If we're in the cage, that means you're in the cage with PZ and I. Go online, Sportira, and website, and get yourself a freshly minted. When I say minted,
I'm pretty sure they're not minted. Printed, perhaps.
Printed and minted jerseys for your 2016
They
spring
smell like
season.
mint.
And also, you can start booking it for the winter season 2017 already and get your looks. They do anything you want. Crazy looks, bland looks, PZ looks, Hunger Game looks, you name it. Sportier is your place to be. Go on the website, Sportier's website, and get that done. And be done right away for you.
Mo,
at FCF World.
You got me on Chris Berman now. You got to admit, if you're saying you won't make love to his voice, you have a problem with your sexuality. That's the one.
Yeah, let's get to the
So
quickest
burly.
5 minutes.
So burly.
So burly and surly. Let's talk about the week that was. Week 2, quite the fascinating. I saw a couple of Div E games. I know you saw some.
Of course.
Let's talk about what caught your eye this week from this Div E action we had in week 2.
Catch your eye is an interesting way to start it because I'm going to talk about aliens and Simon Basket-Baudin.
The Bloodfest.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go into his health at this moment because we're talking about it later in the show. But
Yes.
aliens crushed Rolling Thunder 30-19. Michael Barrett started for Rolling Thunder, and he was able to find Dexter Linton, which is something we lamented last week that they were unable to get such a talented player involved in the offense in a big way. But he did catch 2 touchdowns. That said, Simon Basket-Baudin had a field day on the backup quarterback, having recorded 3 interceptions this game. And then the story for the aliens, however, was that it was Cedric Jeté-Lemay, a guy who we barely touched on last week. We talked to the big stars for aliens.
Yeah.
He caught 5 passes, 55 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
That's a pretty good TD to reception ratio, I guess.
It is 3
Yeah.
to 5.
3 to 5. That's like 1 TD for every,
It's almost exactly 60%,
more or less, 6%.
more or less or equal.
Exactly. The game that I caught this week was Sioux Clan winning 18-13 over Premium Panthers. Now, of course, Premium Panthers I will not poke and prod at too much here, but my word of advice, given we
Sportira.
Sportier is our sponsor, I would recommend potentially getting yourself uniforms from Sportier. Tell them Mocon sent you. PZ gave the word to these guys for you to go see them.
If you use the code word PZ, you will not get a discount.
Or Mocon, or even calling the Audible. However, that should
If you use Mocon as a discount code, you will actually pay 5% more.
potentially. Sioux Clan getting the first win. A nice one for them, winning 18-13.
Well, we saw them move the ball well in the first week.
Yeah.
So it's good to see them get into the end zone. Although it feels like they're going to have to win these ugly games like this one. In a tight, grimy sort of.
To an extent, right? I
Yeah,
mean, Alex
tick-and-tack for the game.
Gray was a benefactor of some plays going his way early in the first half. It felt like, this game started 10 minutes late because of roster issues. It happens, right? But you look at Premium Panthers, they got their sea legs under them in the second half. They actually were the dominant team in the second
Do
half.
Panthers ever really get their sea legs under them?
Or
I mean, cats can
jungle
swim,
legs,
though,
maybe.
right?
I don't know. if that
Jungle legs, I like that. We'll
Yeah.
go with jungle legs. Sounds sexy.
And they played well. Canelo played well in the second half. He was a lot more relaxed in the pocket. I mean, he was going with the short pass, and we talked about this with the quarterback play last week. We'll talk about the receivers later on here and how important they are. But it felt like they got more involved here. And the one guy that I'm going to look at in terms of what they can be down the road for this football team, for Permian Panthers, is the fact that they have playmakers to work with, whether it is Calvaccio, who had a pretty good game for himself.
Absolutely.
But on the flip side of things, though, when you look at Sutan Clan, Peasler, they have GM Clorethris. That helps. Veteran leadership helps. I think that brought it also. Alex Gray was, look, he's not going to throw up 300 yards per game here, but he managed the football game, and they came away with a gutty 5-point victory.
But that's
over
key,
Sutan.
and that's when you have veteran guys in the huddle. When you have a quarterback who's inexperienced, they want to rush. They have a million thoughts going through their minds at a time. A guy like Jim Calethris will help keep them focused and help them call the game late in the game when they need to manage the clock.
And also, John Kirby playing for Permian Panthers. If he is going to be a mainstay for them, he also plays in the higher division with GOD. Get on deck, that is. And if he's on this team, it gives him another dynamic athlete to look out for on the football field.
GYR beat Dirty Mike and the boys, as I predicted, although it's a lot closer than I thought. They beat him by 1 point. Jordan Allard did well on the ground, Mo, but he did struggle at times, and he allowed 7 sacks to Nathaniel Niederman, which did not bode well for field position. PG Bellick also did a good job, although not as explosive as we saw in the first game of the season. But I did want to draw attention to something specific here, as he did a decent job, once again, as I mentioned, but more specifically, he connected with FPF junior alum Ryan Garber for two touchdowns. Look, Ryan Garber is obviously a product of good coaching.
Probably
did
from
there?
Patrice Lindor, probably.
Probably, most likely.
But you look at GYR's roster, they're littered with FPF experience. But look, let's not discount that Jordan Allard, who has higher end experience, is a big benefactor to play on this team or for this roster, for Dirty Mike. But I think what it comes down to is that it's going to be repetitive for the first couple of weeks here, but experience will be so key for these teams.
Yes and no, but the thing is, look, we've both done this. We've both said, hey, we're really smart guys who played in really high divisions. Let's go down and throw in low divisions because we'll dominate because we're smarter than everyone. Yes, that's absolutely true. And it helps you develop quickly as a quarterback. That said, there's key cornerstones in development that you can't skip, and Jordan Allard is seeing that right now. You can't just come in and dominate based on the fact that your brain is bigger than everyone else. Brain. But the thing is that it takes there's a lot of development in terms of getting your guys to be in the right spots and timing with the core that you have, because the receivers that you have, let's say in Division E, are not the same kind of core that you'll have in higher divisions as well.
Not only that, though, when you look at PJ Bellick and what he did, I think for the success for this team is going to be dependent on him running the ball well enough and having a balanced attack of having enough yards to put his team in position to score, because for 44 yards rushing and 1 TD is great for him, but that also alleviates the pressure on him to say, I have to throw 20-plus times to win a football game. That's a fact for itself. Yes, Hunger Games, you're pointing at us like it's over.
He was just yawning like a big-ass bear.
Exactly what I was doing.
We basically have Winnie the Pooh as a producer for the next couple of weeks.
Already my prediction is in the tank. The Tigers losing to Jean-Guy, 33-14. We thought Jean-Guy had no offense, but they have an offense.
But a lot of that was set up by their defense. They were all over the field, limiting what the Tigers can do. And you know what? They're a very emotional team. I mentioned in last week's podcast, they're one of these teams that need success early.
Yeah.
And if they get that kind of success the first few plays of the game, first drive or two, they're a type of team that will weirdly score 30 points, even though it's ugly while they do it.
Well, it's kind of like Sutan Clan, right? If you give them half the field, they're going to score. And that's what happened, right? But you look at the fact that the Tigers, who I'm on their bandwagon right now, I thought with the amount of experience that they have.
Bandwagon.
Well, look, with Raul Mahan now essentially entrenched as the quarterback for this football team, I thought he would have been much more assertive. But once you get down early, this is a team that's not built to play from behind. They have to have a lead in hand, just like with Jean-Guy. If you give Jean-Guy in Division E or Div 6 a 2-score lead, very tough to beat. And I think with this big victory by 19 points, kind of certified the fact that, look, they are definitely going to be a team to beat if their offense is able to score when they're given great field position.
Yeah, the Tigers seem really threatening when they're at the poker table and they got a big stack of chips. But like the next morning, when they're left with like $10 in their Hawaiian shirt like Brad Evans, not as intimidating.
Oh yeah, he wears. Does he not wear Hawaiian cartoon shirts
I would imagine.
or
That's
Japanese?
all he wears.
Japanese. What's it called? Japanese animation? No.
Wait, Japanese animation and Hawaiian shirts are very different things, Mo.
Well, whatever.
Anime and palm trees are not the same thing.
You never know. You
It
never
might be.
know. Other games that caught your attention before you go. To the
One
next
last one.
segments.
Jaggies and Chill looked more like the team I predicted them to be in the preseason. J.F. Delos threw 5 touchdowns, 3 of which to Simon Deschamps, or as I
Yeah.
called him in my first ever podcast, Simon Deschesney. Simon obviously helping the play calling. You know what? There's a role reversal that takes place there, and I can't tell you how much that helps. Having an experienced quarterback in your huddle, playing as a receiver, man, when it's 3rd and 12 or a weird yardage like that, it's helpful to look up in the huddle and have a guy who can suggest a play, who can suggest a concept to you without necessarily being authoritarian, but sort of in a helpful way. And it's good to see these guys using that comfort with each other. That said, on the other side, Ainsley Dejoie for Crusaders struggled in the second start. He's already thrown 9 interceptions. Mo.
That is, and for those who don't know who he is, Simon Dagenet is a writer for FPF. If you look at his quarterback stats, that is definitely Simon Dagenet Hall of Fame worthy.
I tried to save him last season, Mo, but this season he looks just as bad as ever.
It absolutely does. Let's talk about the next segment. We are done with the quickest 5 minutes here, Hunger Games, according to your watch.
Well done.
Well
Almost
done.
producing.
Producing over your
What am I
head.
supposed to produce?
No, you're supposed to go, yeah, you're on pace right now.
You're on point. Yeah. Keep going.
All right. Let's talk about the receiver play in Division E so far. I know it's only 2 weeks into the season here, but you look at the quarterbacks right now, 10 of the top 15 quarterbacks are below 60% passing. Of course, this could be the fact that inexperience is a big factor here, but we talk about the number of drop balls, and I've seen quite a bit in the first 2 weeks of watching Div E.
It's
Your
a
thoughts on
bit
this?
of an oversimplification, though, and it's very sports media dude of you, though.
Yeah.
So I give you that credit is that you want to sound like your hero, so I get it. But that said, like, look, the act of passing, catching a ball is very dynamic. It's not just a guy throwing a ball. It's not just a guy dropping it. Receivers in Division E are not always precise running the routes. The timing is not always amazing because it's a lot of new guys playing with new quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And then quarterbacks don't always throw the most catchable balls and not always tightly wound spirals. And then on top of that, like, how good are the snappers in division, right?
But
So, like, the balls come in high. Quarterbacks aren't looking at coverage. They're throwing the balls basically at times blindfolded into coverage.
What would you rather have in Division E? A guy that can go deep and catch 40 bombs once every 5 passing attempts, or a guy that will catch you 4-yard hooks, and
I
get
want
you-
a snapper who gets the ball in my hands.
Okay,
So then,
well, there's not many PCs out there,
but
Mac
no,
Earwax.
no, but I mean that. But the thing is, it's such a huge deal to have a good snapper in low divisions because it's hard enough for these inexperienced quarterbacks to read the defense. If they're taking their eye off the coverage to catch the ball
Yeah.
at their feet, above their head, behind them, it's impossible to develop as a quarterback.
All right.
That, to me, if I'm looking to build a team, that's the first thing I look at.
Okay, your top 5 receivers in Division E right now, and we'll look at them again in Week 8 or Week 9 when it's all said and done.
Yeah, all right. In no particular order, based on the fact that these are the order I thought of you while I was working.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Marc-Antoine Vallée is a guy I want to draw attention to. He had a great season with the Ravens last season.
Yeah.
Rangy, big playability, a bunch of other nonsense that they use to describe players in the draft that doesn't mean anything. But he did catch 11 touchdowns on a team that struggled at the quarterback position when he played for Ravens. So expect him to put up big numbers this season. Jameel Greenidge is a guy we've talked about
He's
a lot.
on my list, yeah.
I would think so. He's just tough to cover downfield. Great repertoire of routes. He runs crisp routes for a guy who's as fast as he is, because a lot of fast guys don't pay a lot of attention to route
Yeah.
running. But really smooth, crisp routes.
You know who he reminds me of?
Who?
And I know, again, Division E is not familiar with the winter season as much for your new team here. A guy by the name of Shaq Lattimore who plays for the U.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Mo.
And same thing. The U started off in Division 5 it was, now to Division 4. Back-to-back champions in the winter seasons. Lattimore, same thing with Greenish. He has that sort of breakaway ability to turn a game on a dime on a small play.
Turn
to
the
make
game
it-
on a dime.
Yeah. And
If you're betting for a dime, then
or a
that's
nickel,
the way you turn the game.
or a quarter,
Yeah.
or a dollar.
Change.
Continue on with your list.
Dexter Linton, obviously, we're going to draw attention to a dude who played for Kansas University 2 years ago. Dexter Linton was a top 50 rated NCAA corner, and he's playing in Division E.
I like to point out that the football program they call it Kansas University.
Yes.
hasn't won a football game in eons.
Yeah, neither would any of our Canadian programs if they played against Division II teams in the NCAA.
I'm just saying, Kansas is not really too much.
Still,
to boast
he was
about.
still a top-ranked DB in Division I NCAA football. You can go ahead and tell him what you think of his program.
I'll tell him.
That said, his experience as a corner will help him take advantage of poor corner play in the division. But he may not end up with amazing stats because there is no one to feed him on this team. Another guy I want to bring attention to is Justin Lerner, big play receiver, reads the D well because he's played quarterback in up to Division V, and he has good athleticism, which we haven't talked about before. But just because he's was a very steady pocket passer when he played quarterback, it doesn't mean that he doesn't have the athleticism to make big downfield plays, which we start to see. And one last guy is Alexis Bassett of Spartans. He's talented, and he'll have the opportunity to put up numbers as he's relied upon heavily by James Andrea of the Spartans.
It's all deep balls, though.
Yes, but he caught 600 yards worth of deep balls last season.
Talk to me in week 9, week 10.
I'm obligated contractually to talk to you in week 9.
I know we are. I can't believe it's a 14-week season here. My list: Daniel Chan.
That's a good one.
Chan from GYR, 11 catches, 3 TDs already. I think with his experience in FPF.
What's the ratio there, Mo?
Oh, it's a little less than one TD catch for every 4 receptions.
Chapman and Master Control. Can we get what percentage of his catches are touchdowns?
That's about 33%, I guess.
I wasn't paying attention.
Nice.
I wanted.
That's what I was looking for. I look for you to look away from the mic, and then I know I'll catch you.
But I wanted to mention that Chan is a snapper, actually.
Actually, is the full word.
Yes.
Yeah.
I moved away from the mic
They got Eagles back next week.
with no mic.
Vince Pisano.
Yeah, snapper as well.
Vince Pisano from Victoria's Secret, 16 catches already. His experience also playing in the hard division.
And playing quarterback.
Former quarterback,
Yeah.
that's right. Now playing as a snapper.
And quarterback to snapper is an awesome transition because you see the field differently after you play quarterback.
You do. Another guy we mentioned, which we have as a common guy, is Jamal Greenidge from Tigers. He's a guy that, again... Jameel Greenidge, pardon me. I'm not going to go any further what I said to you before that he is a guy that can definitely make plays. Also, when you look at some other guys, Miles Keller.
That's a good one.
Beer,
he was like close on us. Also, the idea of doing this kind of list is stupid because 5 is random and we're obviously choosing guys that are different and we're trying to be entertaining. But go ahead. Tell me about Miles Keller.
Like Miles Keller.
The Keeler elf.
Like, playing on TD and Beers, right? They've been there, and he's made plays. I mean, he's not going to put up 6 catches for 120 yards per game, but he'll be consistent enough to be 3-4 catches a game for 40, maybe 50 yards and a touchdown every second or third game of the season. So I like him a lot. And last but not least, Patrick Gaffard, who plays for Crusaders. I know
big size, big receiver,
and he has experience himself too. I think with what he can be for this football team, provided they get back on track, he can definitely be a red zone threat. And also a third down converter if they're in that position where they need that first down from a big target. He could be that for them during the season.
That's fair.
So
all these lists are stupid.
They are, but nonetheless, though, it brings up great argument here about who was right and who was wrong. I think my list will be better than your list by the time the season is done.
And
yes, sir.
I feel like I've been kissed by a rose on the grave.
Talking about Seal?
Aren't we always talking about Seal?
Yeah. Okay. I have no
I
idea.
love making you speechless. You have no idea how happy that makes me.
Yeah. Where's the eagle? guys!
Team of the week.
Well, spotlight of the week.
Spotlight of the week.
Something I brought up to you before during the week was to talk about more of the Division E teams, something that's very popular with the lower divisions to bring more
Agreed.
attention to them. And the reason why we bring up this team this week is because they said it was up to me Sunday night in Lachine. That's beast mode. I said, you know what? They're getting the first spotlight.
Yeah, why not? Let's do it.
1-0-1.
We're shameless self-promoters. Let's do it.
1-0-1. Their star players, of course, quarterback DB Theo Levin, who has pretty good numbers: 7 TDs, 2 INTs so far through 2 games, and 2 INTs and 1 pick six. Jeremy White, 9 catches, 118 yards, 3 TD catches.
Big play receiver.
Defense has only given up 18 points through 2 games. Let's ask you that first question right now. In your humble opinion, do you think they could end up with the best defense with the way that they've been playing so far on that side of the football?
My opinion is not humble. I love myself a lot.
All right, Tio.
That said, I think the Aliens will actually own that title, but Beast Mode definitely have a great defense, and I think they'll be considered top tier. And I think if they keep the unit together, they definitely are a team that could be considered top defense in the future.
Well, look, their defense has playmakers, right? So far, right now they have one pick six, but look at the amount of interceptions so far through 2 games. 4 interceptions through 2 games. That's almost a team total of 20 for the season, which would be fantastic for Division E. If they're able to get 20 turnovers on that department, that's huge for a team like this because
That's fair.
Because again, beast mode, they have a lot of athletes, a lot of quick players. Seeing their team size that I saw on Sunday night, and they can definitely be problems for teams that might be a little bit more slow-footed, such as Hunger Games or yourself included.
Yeah, some more plodding type players. Absolutely. Plodding.
Is that the new word? Is that the word of the
Plotting.
day? Plotting. That's how you spell that. It is the Scripps spelling bee competition.
Absolutely. Mo, I want to be with you alone so we can talk about the weather.
Yeah, we can do that.
Nice.
It's supposed to be nice this weekend.
Not at all, actually. It's supposed to be raining. If you were an avid gardener like me, you would know that.
Key games. They have a tough 3-game stretch coming up here.
I don't think it's that tough. I read that. I read that on the script, and I'm going to let you finish before I go on.
Tankland.
There we go. I'm going to let you finish.
Tankland, water lizards, smoking axolots, and TD and beers. But also, if you look even further for their schedule and what they could have,
It gets harder actually further down.
Exactly. Of course, they have aliens coming up later on in the season. Goon Squad, Face Jazz, who got crushed on the weekend here. So they end up with an easier Week 10 matchup here.
But they have some tough games along the way. Honestly, I see them going 2-1 in the next 3 games because, Sutan Clan's been inconsistent. Smoking Assaults won't be able to score much, although it's a kind of game that may favor them anyway because that's what the Water Lizards prefer.
Yeah.
TDs and Beer will likely lose that game as I expect Brad Evans to struggle against an athletic defense. Because that's where TDs and Beer loses games is when they just don't have the better athletes on the field. But yeah, I think I'm a little more optimistic. I think to go 2-1 that stretch.
If they go 2-1, that means they would be 3-1-1 at the halfway point, which would be fantastic because the projection would be 6-win season, which would be huge, and I think that could be enough to definitely be maybe division winner, could be, but enough to be a top tier seat for the playoff run, which would be fantastic for a team like Beast Mode. Finally, we look at this situation right now. They're in a tough division. We've talked about it right now. Could we agree that maybe 6 wins is the realistic goal for this team? If they hit that, they're in great shape.
Yeah, I see them as 5-4-1.
Okay.
The tie just seems to plague teams because looking at the up and down the schedule like sort of blindly, you had the feel of a 6-win season, but I always look at a loss like I always look like a tie as a loss, essentially, so 5-4-1.
It also absolves them from any tiebreakers. It kind of puts them in their own category, right?
Unless there's a whole bunch of ties, which we've seen more and more commonly.
Yeah, we got to figure that out for FPF.
Yeah.
Potential finals preview this week. We have GYR against Aliens, a battle of 2-0 teams. GYR, known for their prolific offense against a very stout defense of the Aliens. How does the Aliens counter the receiving duo of Niederman and Chan? And, of course, they have combined for 6 TDs, but, of course, Niederman being a much more lethal weapon on defense.
Well, Aliens have enough experience to call advanced coverages and roll into different coverages from similar looks. This is something that Bellick may not have seen and may not see outside of Aliens in the season. A lot of times, Division E defenses sort of shoulder looks before the snap, whereas an experienced team with experienced players can sort of line up in 4-1 or 5 across the entire time and then break out of it to go into different coverages.
Look, I think for GYR, and look, we'll talk about the health of SBB, Simon Bosquet-Baudin, if he's going to be healthy enough to play, which I think he will. But
I have an update.
Oh,
I
which
spoke
you'll get
to Simon Bosquet-Baudin. Do you want me to hold it?
Hold it. You got to tease
All right.
it, my friend. You got to tease that.
Coming up next.
Find out what's going on with SBB right here on Ebony and Ivory. Look, if GYR can get off to a fast start, that means early scores, and they're up 2 scores. If they're up by a score at halftime, I think they're in good shape here, but this ends up being a grind-out game, which is low scoring.
A grinder, so to speak.
Yeah, a meat grinder. This does not bode well for the chances
totally
going into that second half of that football game. So I think it's imperative for them to get early scores and be efficient with their possessions, not drag it out and end up not getting the points when it's all said and done per series.
I can see that. That's You talked a little bit about PJ Bellick and his ability to
Can he win it though with his legs?
honestly, there's too much team speed on Aliens. I think this is PJ Bellick's chance to show that he's a passer, and he's a guy who, yes, he can run, but he can also throw the ball. And I want to see him play from the pocket in this game because I think that'll be his key to success.
And if he does play in the pocket and that's a success, does he become a pure pocket
No,
passer?
because he doesn't have to be.
Okay.
He doesn't have to be. You know what? The greatest weapon is to be able to run. It doesn't mean that you need to run to win as a crutch.
All right, your breaking news on SBB.
SBB, I spoke to him today. He just
Hold on Skype,
No, on Facebook.
Facebook chat, or Facebook
Just
DM?
typing.
Private message.
As I was doing my prep for this show, actually, I was like, "Hey, let me send him a message." He sent me a picture. I told him he looked great, sexy even. He had a little cut over his eye. He said it made him look thug. That said, just to recap what happened last week on the last play of the game in Division D, he was rushing Mike Adana, who eluded him momentarily. He then came back to try and get the flag, and as Mike was throwing the ball, he kind of inadvertently got Mike's elbow in his eye. So sort of a scary moment, but it turns out SPB is okay. I expect him to play in this game.
Yeah, James Floriani wasn't pissed at all because he did not have him in his
Not mad
Division
at
B
all.
game. Not mad
James
at all.
is known for
James
being
no,
even
no.
keel and not a.
He
an
said,
angry guy.
SBB, take the net off. Don't worry, we got this game, pal.
We'll win this without
we
you.
win this without you, big
They
boy.
didn't.
No, they didn't.
They did not.
Oh, God. Cedric Jetlame, will he be the difference in this football game?
Expect different heroes each week from Alien. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is, but I wouldn't be surprised if he isn't because SPB can easily step up. And we haven't even seen Max Vernagagné
No, we have not.
have a big game yet. So it could be him as well. You know what I mean? There's a holy trinity, and by that I mean the reference to Catholicism and not the sex act.
Yes.
But there's a holy trinity of talent in this team, and I expect each week one of them to step up.
All right, it is time for PZ's arousing and provoking thought of the week.
Of
What
the
is
century, of the week. Yeah,
of the
absolutely.
weekend.
All week long, I see people posting about their vacations, which is kind of nice because people are starting to get away. The weather's starting to get nice. Which
What is
kinda-
vacation season coming up
It's
here?
kind of counterintuitive because the time where it's nicest in Montreal, it was literally warmer in Montreal today than Jacksonville, which I know for weird reasons.
Southern Georgia.
Well, Jacksonville's in Florida,
They
actually.
people in
The
Florida.
capital of-
People in Florida will call it Jacksonville, Southern Georgia.
That's
they
fair.
don't include it as part of the Florida map.
Nobody wants it.
No.
But the thing is that like it seems odd to me, first of all, that people leave town where Montreal is the nicest and
To go to
women are wearing the
Jacksonville.
least amount of clothing.
Yeah.
But that said, it is vacation time. But I did see like a couple of people I know going to France posting pictures of the Eiffel Tower. Guys, it's basically a scaffold. Like, stop pretending it's pretty. Stop pretending. The thing is, it's an eyesore. It looks like something that was built to then build a nicer, more decorative city center or more decorative attraction to your city. I don't see it. I actually think it's the worst part of the city. Much like Victor Hugo, I would eat inside the Eiffel Tower every day if I lived in France, just so I wouldn't have to look at it to lose my appetite.
So you're telling us, the free world, that you get repulsed
Repulsed.
by the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'd rather take you on a seafood dinner and never call you again.
So when you see a scaffold, you get really
All the time. I hate climbing shit.
So
That's
if,
why we built escalators, people. Why are you worshiping the Eiffel Tower? We have escalators now.
So you're telling
elevators
me, for those who've been to Papineau and Brossard to play the games, you don't like climbing those staircases to go to the stands?
God, no, I get carried every time. Simon Dajang. Thanks, buddy.
Okay. All right, it is time for Games of the Week.
Absolutely. Games of the week.
Games of the week. For them to go at.
Yo, we got. Does he even have the games? Can
I
you
don't
read
think
them to
so,
us?
but I will give him my iPad right now, and you
since
can read
it's obviously unbiased and you didn't set the lines yourself.
Exactly.
Let's have
Machine did, or Papineau did
let's
this
have
time.
Chapman read us the games of the week.
They're not even up on his iPad.
It is actually. You were looking at the wrong.
It's also on
thing.
my iPad.
Hey, go down.
The production value of the show is incredibly high.
Why don't you give me the iPad, and I'll do it for you right now. Hunger Games.
Yep. Please.
I don't know what the hell Hunger Games is looking at.
Someone,
here.
what's your favorite part of games of the week?
Here you go.
Is it the challenge? Is it the unpredictability? Is it the pickles?
So,
It's the unpredictability. Here we go.
games of the week.
Games of the week.
A little more enthusiasm.
Give it
here.
to us. Give it to us.
No, I don't give you enthusiasm.
In
Rolling Thunder versus Dirty Mike. And
is terrible.
Thunder are 2.5 points favored.
This is awful.
2.5 point favorites.
Yes.
It's a battle of 0 and 2s. I have Dirty Mike winning it, despite the fact that Thunder are favored by 2.5 points.
It's supposed to Thunder this tomorrow morning. Give me the Thunder to win this game and get their first W of the season.
All right, let's do it.
Sutang Klang versus Beast Mode. Beast Mode are 5.5 point favorites.
It's 5.5
It's like he's
points.
never gambled. And the worst part is, I know he's gambled.
Point favorites.
I know he bets. It's the worst part. What'd you call Mo?
I got Beast Mode covering the spread. I think they are a good team, and that defense will put them in position to win this football
As
game.
much as I hate to agree with you, I think that happens again. Beast Mode will put up too many points for two. Sutang Clan, 5.5 points sounds just about right.
Jean-Guy versus Face Jazz. Jean-Guy, 3.5 point favorites.
3.5 points favorites. I got
3.5
Jean-Guy.
points.
I think I'm going to take Jean-Guy, and I think they might win this game by 20-plus points.
20 plus points?
Yes.
I'm gonna go Face Jazz because I think it'll be less than that. I think Jean-Guy can win by 1 or 2.
All right, next game.
GYR versus Aliens.
This is fun. This is
3.5 point favorites for the Aliens. I used 0.5 this time.
Excellent. I have GYR winning this football game.
I'm gonna go with Aliens. I think they're gonna cover as well. 3.5. You know what? If they're gonna win this game, they're gonna win by a touchdown or more. So give me Aliens.
All right, fair enough. What did you learn on today's episode?
I learned that the sports commentator that I most closely resemble is Dr. Fraser Crane.
I learned that you think you look like Dr. Fraser Kane, but
Absolutely.
most importantly, I learned that Hunger Games does not know how to deliver or convey the games of the week with great enthusiasm.
I kind of like it though. The awkwardness makes it worthwhile.
3.5 points, 6 points point game.
0.5.
He said point so many times.
Good night, Roland Garros.
What's he pointing at?